Good morning, Prof. How are you today?
Good morning, Bibby. I'm good, thank you. And before you say good morning to our viewers, yes, I know there are people watching. Yeah.
Well, okay. I don't know whether you don't want me to say good morning to our viewers, but viewers, welcome to the show, your favorite Sunday morning show.
I think they have to choose whose good morning they prefer now. Look at how you're saying it.
I think it's mine. They have to. It's like, viewers, please let me know. Let me know that it's my good morning that you like.
Fair, I would
not
prefer
Profs,
yours
not
well.
Profs. So yes, thank you. Don't mind Prof. Don't mind Prof, please. Yeah. Thank you all for joining us today. Hope you're all well. Please send us a message in the comment section. Let's know how you're doing. And also, where are you watching us from? It'd be nice to know. Okay. Thank you again.
And let us know whether you were caught in the rain sometime last week.
I know. Yes, I was. Definitely, I was.
Yeah,
I think it was on Tuesday, actually. I was. Yeah. Yes. But yeah, let us know. And it is a bright, sunny Sunday morning today. Wow. So, Prof, I hope it is bright where you are too.
we're in springtime after all. It's always going to be bright, I guess. Even if not outside, it's going to be bright inside. Huh?
Wow, true. That's true. That's very true. All right. So, Prof, this morning, I think we are going to be discussing something very serious as well as something really light. And this, I was thinking about what's happened in the last week, something like you would do to me. So, Bibby, what is the odd thing going on at the moment? So I would like to test your knowledge to find out whether you would pass this. What happened last week?
When last week?
Last week, Monday.
Oh, Monday, the 17th of May. That really
17th of May.
Doesn't it? I believe that's one of the stages of the relaxation of the restrictions.
Oh, God. I hate you, Prof. I hate you. I think, viewers, you see, I don't think I can win with Prof. Like, he knows everything. Seriously. Anyways, yeah, well done. Yes, well done. I'm clapping for you. Well done. It was the restrictions. I said that day, I said, this is happy restrictions lifted day kind of a thing, because it was like we were all looking forward to it, and then it came, but it has been so different. I don't know if you've had much interaction with people, but for this morning I want us to talk about conflicts, and it's going to be in two different areas. The first is that in the last 1 year, our social behaviors have really changed. We've stopped arguing, we've stopped mixing with a lot of people, being in the same room and everything. But from Monday, in fact, like, people can get into restaurant and sit down and eat. We can go into cinemas, you can go into theaters, we can come into church. I know we've been coming to church for a bit, but right now it's like we can come have more people in church. And I feel like there will be some sort of conflicts in terms of our social behaviors. One, for instance, is, when we get to church, we see ourselves, hey, good morning, sis, good morning. You want to all. But there might be people who are not very comfortable with arguing now, even though they've said, yes, you can. But of course, well, the Prime Minister did say, you choose what you want to do. So it's kind of put the responsibility back into your hands. But do you see any sort of conflicts arising from that? Because things have changed.
Well, I think you answered the question already. I think absolutely. Whenever you have a mismatch, a misalignment between expectation and between expectations, number one, and then also between expectation and practice, you would have the beginnings of conflict. And what you've said is it's a good example of it, right? Where there is insufficient awareness, on the part of anybody really. Not just of themselves, but also the impact of their actions on other people. Yeah. Then what you described is what could happen. Can you imagine being that individual who really isn't comfortable? In fact, as you say this, I'm just thinking back to, I was listening to a news program, and somebody called in, and this person really was almost in tears on the phone saying, I'm going to, this person said, I've been in isolation. Well, not isolation. I've been by myself. For about a year, for last year. Now I'm just going to go out into the big bad world, and people are going to be trying to get close to me and all of this. I'm not comfortable with that. You know, I'm not
Wow.
comfortable with doing. I'm not comfortable with people coming close to me. I don't want people to hug me. You know, but I'm concerned that people are not thinking in this way. All they're thinking of is, oh, this is an opportunity to get into my space, right? And so you would see that because you see a lot of people thinking, oh yes, we can hug again. Well, that's you. The question you ask yourself is, the person I'm thinking of hugging, do I actually know whether they want me to hug them?
I think we're about to start wearing some tags like, I can be hugged or don't hug me.
Yeah, and this is the thing. Think of the awkwardness, right? So I come up to you and I, with my arms stretched out, right before I get to you, your mind is working 19 to the dozen and saying, hang on, if I don't let him hug me, I'm going to look like a bad person, but I really don't want him to hug me. Right?
Yeah.
So you think, okay, what's the best way to do it? Am I going to be doing this all day long? Okay, one person, you see what I mean? So without knowing that I've just stressed you out, I'll be coming with the best of intentions, but right there and then you might think to yourself, I'm not doing this again. I'm not doing this again.
Right? And so, do you think that would or might impact, people actually gathering in a place with other people? Because if we are already thinking about, I don't want to be hugged, and I don't want to make it awkward. I don't want the other person to feel awkward. So I'm not going to have to tell them and say, sorry, don't hug me. I'd rather stay away from being. Do you think it's like things are just going to change, and things have changed rather, they've changed, and it's like that's our new normal that we have to navigate.
I think we're going to have to learn how to navigate social behavior, right? Afresh, certainly having heightened levels of awareness, because as you said, nobody wants to be, everybody you meet, you say, oh no, don't hug me, especially, right, where you are in an environment where you think people might want to hug you. So of course, if you don't want that, what's the easiest thing to do? Don't go, right? And of course, if you ask the person might not tell you why. They just feel that I don't feel protected enough. I don't really want to go through this. So I'm not going to put myself in that situation. Whereas if they were in an environment where they don't know anybody and they know that people are not going to try and hug them, then they're fine. So I think that, it might sound funny, but I think it's a serious consideration. And there are people for whom, exactly what you said, for that reason, they will not go to environments where they think that people are going to put them in that situation.
So that means that if you're having a party, then you have to consider those people who might not want to be there because they just don't want to mix with other people. So does that mean that we're going to the age of having hybrid parties? So you have physical and then you get people to join online as well or something?
Well, I think we're already there, right? It's up to you what you want to do. But if you consider that there are people who, I think you said this one of the times we spoke, Bibby, that you invited people to your events and they were from different continents and different places, and they've had this experience of being part of your life. Are you now going to suddenly cut them out because you found better friends around you, right? So all you had with them was nothing. So I think we're already there. I think the question is, in addition to other reasons for having a hybrid setup for whatever it is we're doing, we also would need to consider that there are people who just may not, they want to be part of what you're doing. They may live next door to you, but they just don't want to come physically for whatever reason, right? Which they may or may not be able to tell you, right? So it may just become more and more the norm that when you set up whatever it is, you just have an opportunity for people to join remotely so that they can be part of what you're doing.
So now what we are saying is that we have to navigate through the social behaviors that we're going to be working to now. It's not going to be what it was before. It's going to be different. So everyone is going to have to learn. So I think personally, when I meet people, as much as I like to hug, I don't think I'll be the first to say, oh, I want to hug you or something like that, But again, when you're excited, you don't think about some things, right? So I'm sorry, Prof. If I see you and you don't want to be hugged, you better have a map or something.
I think I'm going I want to make an announcement to all the hug refuseniks there. We're going to come up with a little, I don't know what they call that thing you put around you, like beauty queen stuff.
Yes.
So you can put it around you, but it's not going to be for the people who don't want to be hugged. It's for the people who want to be hugged.
Who wants to be hugged?
So you can wear it. So as you're walking around, anybody that sees you knows, okay, this person wants to be hugged.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should do that. So, Prof, do you remember I said when we started that this is going to be in two areas? So the second area, we're talking about conflicts, right? And we've said it, there is definitely going to be conflicts in terms of our social behaviors. So it's how we're going to navigate that people then need to learn and walk through, right? But the other side of this is, and this is a more serious one, by the way, it's more to do with the current crisis in the Middle East. Because I've been watching on TV, and the things that I have been seeing, things I've been reading, they're quite sad. And it seems like I've asked a couple of people, and no one seemed to, doesn't seem like a big deal. Like, yeah, they're fighting there. Yeah, we know. Yeah, that's fine. And that's it. So for me, it's like, is it because it's not close to home? Or when there is conflict, do you think anyone actually wins? And this is a genuine question, by the way, Prof. And viewers, if you agree with me or you would like to know about this, please, or whatever question you have, send it to us, and Prof will answer, because he's the one that
he will try. He'll try.
Well, it will try and answer. I will answer. But yeah, so honestly, it's like, when you have conflict, do we really think one person wins, or what happened? Like,
yeah, I think, so you raised the point before you even asked the question, which is this idea of becoming so inured to pain or to bad news that we just find a way of coping. The truth is that it's the sad reality of our lives right now that, I don't know how far back you want to go. There's conflict. It's almost like, take your pick, there's always conflict somewhere going on. High profile conflicts. There are nations that have been in conflict for the better part of getting to 10 years now. There are nations that have been in kind of reeling from the effects of conflict in a generation. And, you see people within that generation that can point to you where they had conflicts that took millions of lives. Right. And of course, we know that there are nations that are actually dealing with terrorism and things like that right now. So all of these fall within conflict. And then, of course, the example that you gave. And I think that in some ways it's almost part of our coping mechanism, because how much can you take, right? How much capacity do you have emotionally to kind of consider all of this that's happening and still be able to live a normal life? So sometimes we may come across as being really callous, right? Because somebody who's part of that conflict is, how can you just, it doesn't matter. Not that it doesn't matter, but I think that ultimately we get to a point where we choose where we invest emotionally, just as a way of survival, because otherwise you can just get kind of so emotionally drained. And that's the point. The second point, the question you asked, does anybody win? Well, that's the thing, right? Often when conflict happens, the focus is on perhaps the primary parties that are involved, and rightly so. But you find out that everything around them is affected, right?
True.
Both people who are connected to them directly affected, people who find themselves, who identify with them in whatever way, affected. It disrupts every area of our lives. We talked earlier about individual conflict in something that may seem a little bit, not a big deal, but even something like that would affect your life, would affect your mood, and affect the way you interact with other people, let alone when you talk of a bigger conflict that involves multiple parties. Does anyone win? I don't think so, right? I think that, again, it depends on, obviously we're talking of this kind of physical conflict, we're talking of conflict that leads to the loss of lives, okay? Because we also recognize that other sorts of conflict that don't lead to loss of lives can be are an important tool for us to develop as people.
That's right, yeah.
But that's not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about these really expensive conflicts. Expensive in the sense of the cost to life, right? And once that comes into the equation, you kind of step back and you start to ask, does this have to be this way, right? And I think what we're asking is more of an existential question, right? Because I don't think anybody starts off thinking, well, I would imagine that most people that get involved in conflict, I would imagine, right? I know there's always a minority, but I would imagine that the majority of people that get involved in conflict don't necessarily want conflict. They want an end.
That's right, yeah.
But they've got to the place where they see conflict as the only way they can get that end. And that's why then they engage in that. Again, when we say conflict, what do we mean? We're in essence talking about a misalignment of purpose, right? Of end goals. And then somebody saying, well, the only way I can get to this end goal is through conflict, or there is no way we can get something else that is not quite that end goal, but that we can both subscribe to. I think that's what happens. And then you face a situation, which is the other thing with conflict, right? It's not just about what the issue being contended over. There is also the issue of resolution, right? How does conflict get resolved? How do we consider the different parties that are involved and try to get something that works for everybody? Because ultimately, whenever, you're a risk manager, it's not quite the same, but you still spend a lot of your time trying to avoid, in essence, conflict, prevent conflict.
Of course,
right? Yeah. And sometimes you try to resolve a conflict before it arises. Right?
Yeah,
that's the best way to end the conflict, right? To prevent it from arising in the first place. Yeah. When you get a situation where that conflict arises, I think that for many of us, again, at an individual level, even looking beyond the kind of state, between nations and so forth, how many times do you find yourself where somebody is trying to tell you about a conflict in which they're involved? What they are trying to do is to get you to take sides. Right? Straight away, they're trying to get you, because sometimes it moves from just being a conflict about ends to becoming an ideological conflict. Yeah. People don't want to resolve the conflict, they want to win it.
That's right. Yeah.
And when the aim moves away from resolution to winning, then of course people would do things in order to win at all costs. And then you have the whole thing spiraling out of control. But this reminds me, the point I was making about people trying to get us, drawn into conflicts where we don't even necessarily have full visibility of what's happening, and trying to get us to take sides. I don't know that you remember that story when Joshua was in front of Jericho, and he was about to take the city, and then he saw this individual, this warrior person, angel, full regalia. And he said, in true fashion, like we would do as men, said, are you for us or against us? Which is what we do, right? When we go into conflict, when we see somebody, what our initial response or initial reaction or tendency is to say to the person, are you for me or against me? Because I want to know where to put it.
Like you're looking for allies or...
Yes. And you know what the response from that person was? He said, no. But as the commander of the Lord's army, I've come. It's like, to kind of reframing the whole thing. I'm not necessarily here to take sides. I'm here to ensure
I'm here on a purpose.
To fulfill God's purpose. And then Joshua asked him, so what do I do? He said, take off your shoes, because where you are is holy ground.
Holy ground, yeah.
When I come into the situation, everything changes. Right? When you recognize that there is a bigger than us, there's something more important than us and perhaps than the conflict. And this again speaks to perhaps conflict even within relationships, because sometimes when you have those conflicts spiraling out of control, it's because we lose sight of what is bigger and what is more important. Or we've decided and recalibrated what is important to becoming only about that conflict. When you step back and think there is something more important, often that kind of puts everything into perspective and gives us a path towards resolution. So I know that, of course, what we've taught, this is really all very, if you like, philosophical, but sometimes we have to have these conversations, because you see that something you might be looking at as far away is happening in other lands. You look at our life and you can see similar things playing out in different ways. And usually the small conflict that is unresolved in between two people, if you leave it unresolved long enough, it can spiral and become something.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, it might sound like we're having this we're talking about conflicts between nations, I know, but even as individuals as well, you said something which is very profound, which is a lot of the time people go into conflicts not for resolution but to win, and what they are going to do is to win at all costs, regardless of who's going to get hurt or not. So it's basically just challenging our mindset and just thinking about these issues, because they are real life issues. In the Middle East, for instance, at the moment, people are dying. People wouldn't sign up for this. They are dying as a result of what's going on. And it's just so sad to watch. But thank you very much, Prof. As always, you always just bring these insights that are very, very useful and very important. So thank you. Viewers, our time is very short. But when we come back, it's going to be our Spotlight Minute. So please don't go anywhere. See you shortly. Hello, MOG. Good morning to you, sir.
Hello, Pastor Yemi. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you.
How are you doing, sir?
Very well, thank you. As good as I can be. Really thank God.
Nice. So good to have you. Viewers, please welcome with us Emoji. So I call him Emoji. So that's man of God. And I know Prof said Pastor Yemi, and then you guys might be thinking, so why are you calling him Emoji and Pastor Yemi? So anyway, it means
the same person.
It's
yes,
the same
it's
thing.
Pastor
So I call
Yemi
him
Adenuga.
Yes, thank you for joining us, Pastor Yemi Adenuga. Please, I don't call him that name. Thank you for joining us, Emoji.
Actually, some people might know him by another name, but I think he'll tell us all about that, right? So, in fact, now we mentioned that, Pastor Yemi, I know that some people watching might say, oh, okay, that's a new name. I would call him Pastor Yemi. Never mind. He's going to tell us something right now why that seems to be the case. So, Pastor Yemi, why is it that, people might think that you're a new face? And is there anything you can tell us about yourself that might help them out?
Well, thanks so much, Prof. I call him Prof.
Hey, I'm not the only one that calls you Prof.
Yeah, I mean, we've all part of the chip of the old block, London Lighthouse, but work's taking me back to Africa in Lagos. So recently, in the last, now it's going to be 5 years in August, I've been doing the back and forth shuttling between London and Lagos primarily. So that's why you probably have not been seeing me as much as you used to see me in the London Lighthouse, the Rock Tower. But I'm obviously serving at the Lagos Church, the Rock Cathedral as well, anyway. And then work is really pretty much in Africa. And so that's why, you mentioned to me about people know me. So Yemi is a known name, but some people know me as James. So, but it's still the same me.
Yes. And I know some people might listen to the surname and say, I've heard that surname somewhere. Is there a connection? I don't know. Who knows?
It's a large family, by the way. It's a large family. So
right.
So that's me.
Oh,
but it's good to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. Do you know, I didn't know it's been almost 5 years already. Yeah. But anyway, Pastor Yemi, when next you're going, please, I can fit into your luggage. It's fine. So I'll just come with you. It's okay. So thank you again for joining us. You have joined the Spotlight Minutes. And I mean, this is a special edition, right? Because this is our first time on the new Spotlight Minutes that we have. The Spotlight program. Yes, that is
Fabulous.
it. So now you have two options.
Okay.
And the first option is tell me something about you, basically. So which is what we've been doing before. And that's basically asking you questions about you and then see how many of those questions you can answer under 30 seconds.
Okay.
And then the second option is give me a word. So that will give you a word and then you have to use that word as many times as possible. And we will count to see how many you are able to use, how many times you're able to use the words. And also it's still all under 30 seconds.
30 seconds,
so,
okay.
What will be your option for today, Emoji?
Can I do a hybrid?
Oh my God.
Both.
We have to think about that. So for now, you have to choose one out of the two.
Okay, I'll go with the first option. Tell me about me.
Something about you. Okay, that's fine. So what we'll do is Prof will read out the questions to you, and I'll let you know when your time starts and when it ends. And of course, there will be the timer on the screen. If you can't see it, don't worry about it at all. I'll shout when it's time. And I always say you don't need to worry too much about an answer because your time is of essence. So you have 30 seconds. So, Prof, are you ready to go?
Ready.
Emoji, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so your time starts now.
What's your favorite holiday destination?
United States of America.
What's your favorite hobby?
Football.
What's your favorite sports team?
Manchester United.
Which female celebrity is your ultimate dream girl?
Celine Dion.
What's the greatest band of all time?
The Rock band.
This is what happens when you bring pastors here. He was thinking of Don Moen, maybe.
It was just, I'm sure you were trying to remember maybe gospel artists or
if you had advised you, Pastor Yemi, I would have said you go for the other one, because since you preach, right? You just close your eyes and say you're praying and you just roll off your mouth. But anyway, here we go. I think that was 4, but 4
questions, yes. But well, yeah, you did well. As we always say, it's you're on the odd seat. So yes, you understand. That's fine. Maybe when next you come, you just forget that you're a pastor for just that 30 seconds, and just let yourself go. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Emoji. Guys,
thank you so much.
Emoji, thank you for joining us.
Really honored to be here.
Service, okay.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye now. Cheers.
Bye. Oh wow. Well done, Emoji.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. He's a pastor, so yeah.
I know, right? Yes. Yes.
But having said that, great times still coming up ahead. It's Pentecost Sunday, right?
Yes.
And we're going to go over to the Rock Tower to see what's going on there. Coming up live with Pastor Temi, the Hill City Choir, and all the others who are there in person. It's Sunday service coming up. Don't go anywhere. God bless you.
Bye, guys. See you.